Hello there, my name is Asleon. Today I'll be talking about how I built my Varka. Let us get right into this. He's got 19,035 HP, 2,455 attack, 958 defense. He's got 232 EM. He's got 49 over 1A crit rate crit damage. He's got 115 ER and 5% cooldown reduction. He's got a 24% pyro damage bonus and a 24% animo damage bonus. Now, weapon-wise, I personally have him on the Makari Aquamarine. If you haven't seen this before, it's just a regular one you can pull off the gacha. I only have one of it. I feel like it's not one you see very often, so I thought I'd say that. You could also put him on the Mailed Flower, and frankly, those are the two that I personally really like for him. I don't know if there's any of my other weapons that I'd really put him on. You could feasibly put him, if you wanted like a 3-star option, you could put him on like this one, especially if you're running him in a Pyro or Electro team, it'll give him EM, and then he'll have additional damage against them. You could definitely throw this one on him. It gives him the attack percent, normal and charge hits have 30% chance to do a bunch of damage, which honestly is pretty good, so you could put him on the prototype Archaeac too. But most of them, I'm like, the ER, I don't like the ER. HPA is not useful for him. This is all Lunar Bloom, which he doesn't do. Defense is not useful for him. Physical's a no. If you run him in a Hydro or Electro team, you could put him on the Rain Slasher. He doesn't do Plunge. And then ER again. And then this one's like Burnin'. He doesn't have a character in his team. Anyway, so I mostly would think those two, but the prototype Archaeac is definitely an option, which is a craftable option, which is really good, because you can't get the Mailed Flower, because it was an event-specific weapon, so sucks for anyone who doesn't already have it. And then, like I said, I don't see this one. I mean, if you get a bunch of this one in your gacha pulls, because it's random. I don't pull it often, but sheerly by the fact I have a single one of it, and no more. Should be obvious. I do really like it. It gives equipping character gains 20% of their elemental mastery as an attack bonus. The new partner gains 30% of this buff for the same duration. It can't stack. Now this one is also pretty good because it has an attack percent as the main stack, which is really nice. And this one's good because of the elemental skill it does. He does a lot of his damage via his skill. Now artifact wise, I got 4 that you can see I have selected. The one you should probably put him on the most is A Day Carried from Rising Wind, which is this one, as you can see here. Gives him attack percent, a bunch of basically everything. Hit something, you get the Blessing of Pastoral Winds. It increases attack by 25, and if the character has Witch's Homework, which he does. And upgrades, which then gives them crit rate plus 20, which is really, really good. Basically, if you have someone who has a Witch's Homework, and yeah, no, essentially if you have someone who has Witch's Homework, you probably want them on this, unless they have like a very specific thing they want to do, and that is just that much better for them. I would say put them on this. You could, if you don't want to put them on it, you could put them on Gladiator's Nostalgia, which, as you can see here, 2-piece attack percent. If the soldier wields Sword Claymore, which is what he does, their normal attack is plus 35. Which can work really well. He does a lot of his damage with his special skill, but at least the way I play him, in between when I can use his special skill, I'm using his base as his normal attack, so he does a lot of damage via that as well. You can put him on VV. It gives him animo damage, which is very distant verber. For those who don't know the shorthand for it. 15% animo damage bonus, and then increasing swirl damage. He does a lot of swirl damage. Given it's how he's run. Decrease the opponent's elemental resistance to the element infused by sword for 40%, which is really nice. VV's good. You could also put him on a 4-piece of the Echoes of Offering. Gets attack percent, and the normal attack hits opponent. There's a chance to trigger Valley Right, which will increase the normal attack 36, which will increase normal attack damage by 70. If it doesn't trigger, it's spelled up to 0.5 seconds, so you have to, after the normal attack deals damage. If it doesn't trigger it, you get plus 20% on your chance of triggering Valley Right. So for each instance of a normal attack that doesn't trigger it, you get plus 20. So by the time you don't trigger it once, you're already at 56. By the time you don't trigger it twice, you're already at 76. So 3 times and you are at the guarantee. No, you're 4% short of the guarantee. Because that would be 60 plus 36 anyway. This can trigger every 0.2 seconds. I think you could actually put that on him and it could do some, like I said, I use his normal attack in between where he uses his skill. I think it could do some decent damage there. But really, you want to put him on a day carved from Rising Wind. We're going to go over his talents, and then we're going to go over to his constellations. You want to level his E, his ult, and then his base. I don't even know if you actually really need to level his base attack much, because the skill attributes, the normal attacks you're using during his base, I'm pretty sure are off these multipliers and not off of these multipliers. I could be wrong. I'm not always clear on how the multipliers work or how some things go, but yeah, and then I do want to point out something about this because I feel like it's easy for you to notice on Varka when he's in the Strum and Drog state that you can use his E, and then when he's got that charge state, you can use his E again. But apparently you can also do a special charge attack with it, which is partially relevant for when we're going over his constellations. Anyway, and then his ult just does damage. Now this one is pretty nice, which I forgot to go over what stats you put on his artifacts. My apologies. Attack percent, crit, rate, or damage, depending on what you want. Now, we'll go back to the talents. This talent is why he's on 2. Attack percent instead of an attack and an anemo damage bonus. So for every 1,000 points of attack Varka has, he will gain 10% anemo damage bonus. That's 10% of the corners. 10% anemo damage bonus and corresponding elemental damage bonus, which is actually where he gets his anemo damage and the pyro damage. And this is really good because that way he has the double. He has the double because he does both damage types because of how his skill works. Which is, we'll go over more of that in the team building. And there's a lot of intertwining things with Varka. A lot of characters. There's a lot of intertwining things with this one. Yeah, let me make sure to find out. Chili Landstrom Drag, there's a pyro, blah blah blah. Varka's skills, pretty special skill, yep. Additionally, if there are 2 animal characters and at least 2 characters of the same type, which this is where more team building comes in, I'll go into more into that when we get to the team building section. Oh, up to a 25% bonus. So I'm basically almost at cap. He just needs like, what, 50 more attack percent. I didn't read this one beforehand. That was my bad. Anyway, so he should be getting the full one when he's using his attacks. So he should be getting that extra 25% attack percent. If you can get him to enough attack, you could probably just put him on an anemo damage bonus one as well. And then with the attack buffings, he gets up to the 2,500. Honestly, you could do that with him if you have it right. So you could do attack percent or anemo on the goblet. I feel like we're all over the place. Anyway, so if you have two anemo and then 2 of a different unifying element, normal charge, special attack, special charge attack, Azure Devour, and special elemental skill. I'm going to be calling the special charge and the special skill for simplification. The Varka deals, or in relation to the Strength Judge mode, we deal 140% of their original damage. If there are at least 2 animal characters and 2 other characters of the same element present in the team at the same time, the aforementioned effect will increase by 220. Normal charge, special attack, Varka, leash mode will deal 140% of their original. Least. Additionally, I'm confused as to why it's stating it like this, because if there are 2 animo characters and 2 of this among the normal charged, special charge, the special skill that Varka deals or unleashes, while in the Strum and Drag mode, will deal 140% of their original damage. So it'll be increased. So the damage should be increased by 40%. Yes, the damage will be increased by 40%. If there are at least 2 animal characters and at least 2 other characters of the same element, among prior harder, the preset in the party at the same time, present in the party at the same time, the aforementioned event will increase to 220. But don't you need this requirement for this to trigger in the first place? I'm confused. But most likely you're getting this buff or present at the party at the same time. Is this for like a co-op thing? If they're all on field at the same time, you get an additional buff? I don't know why this is separate. Most likely you're getting an increase of damage of 120. At least that's what I think it's saying. Anyway, that's that talent. This one is just if anybody triggers, or party member, Varka gains a stack of a Zero-Fang Oath. This increases his normal charge, special charge, and special skill by 7.5 for each stack for 8 seconds. He get a maximum of 4 stacks of it, and then everybody can give him 1 stack this way every second. This is his homework. You have to have 2 Hexerai characters in the team. I will go over a bit more about your options there when I get to the team building. If only I had all the Hexerai characters memorized. Anyway, enhance the elemental skill form of Ascension when Varka hits an opponent with a normal attack and Strum and Drag. The cooldown of form of Ascension will be reduced by 1 second. There you go. It just gives him his special skill faster. And then this one we're not going to worry about. It's just an overworld thing. In every party is Mondstadt, holds version of an elemental skill, so when he gets long, so it's a travel thing. Now, to the constellations. His C1 is when he uses his skill, which puts him into the Strum and Drog state. Drand? I'm not exactly sure. I think I've been pronouncing it differently. He gets an additional use of his special skill, and then after switching to it, he will gain something called the Lyrical Libation effect, which when he uses his special skill, or when he uses his special charge, he will consume the effect, I'm using the words they're using, to deal 200% of the original damage, so he doubles the damage, which is a 100% increase, dealt by it. So I assume it's just he doubles the damage dealt by it, just for a simplification. So if he uses his skill, he gains an extra use of his special skill, and then when using his special skill or when using his special charge attack, he will do double the damage. That is my understanding of the reading. I don't know why it's written like that, or if I'm understanding it wrong. I wish it was simpler. Anyway, his C2. So upon using his special skill or when performing his special charged attack, Varka will do an additional strike. So he doesn't... words. Upon using one of his specials, so the special skill or the special charge, Varka will then do an additional point of animal damage worth 800% of his attack. So you use one of them, he does 800% of his attack as animal damage, which is really nice. His C3 increases the level of his skill. His C4 is when Varka triggers a swirl attack. He gains 20% animal damage bonus. Well, actually, everybody gains 20% animal damage bonus and 20% of whatever it was swirled with. So, 20% pyro, 20% what? Not geo. I can't say electro. There we go. That's another one. The swirlable elements. So all of them gain a 20% animo, and then whatever it was swirled with. His C5 increases the level of his burst, and his C6 is after he uses his special skill, he can then... it changes the Strum and Drag state. Upon using his special skill, he can then either tap... So typically when you tap his E, it will not trigger the special charge, but now it does trigger the special charge. Or if you hold his normal attack, it'll trigger the special charge. And this will not expend one of your little charges for using it. So upon using the special skill, you then get a free special charge attack. You can either trigger it by tapping it or holding the charge attack. And then after this one, So it's for a short time after. So technically it doesn't have to be directly after, but it doesn't tell you how long a short time after is, so I would just do it right away. So for a short time after. And then after this special charge attack that you didn't have to expend one of the little charges for, you may then tap the skill. You can't hold your charge, but you can tap the skill to trigger the special skill with no charge. You can't do this in a full loop because it adds a nice little clause here that says that the special attacks triggered by this cannot then trigger each other. But you basically, once you use his special skill once, you can then use the special charge and the special skill again, all within one charge, which is really, really nice. And then I hope that made sense. And then when his Azurofang Oath, which is the one he got when other party members did swirls, he gains 20% crit damage for each stack. So now in addition to what was it? And I forgot. We'll go back here. No, that was the wrong one. See, in addition to the 7.5% damage bonus to his normal charge, special charge, or special almost skill he also gets 20% crit damage for each stack on this. So, which is really, really nice. His constellations I personally think are really, really solid. Anyway, let's go to teams. As you can see, I run him in a Pyro team. I feel like this is the most common type of team for him, which is a Pyro team. I like Pyro team. Technically, if you wanted pure optimization, you'd probably run him with something like this and you tap Kazuha out for Venti, but I don't care. I want to run him with Kazuha, so I am running him with Kazuha. You want to run him with a Hexarai character. Luckily, they do have a nifty little filter for that, don't they? Pretty sure they have Hexarais and Austin. So I think it only shows the characters you've Hexarized. So I don't know if this is all the Hexarai characters. I don't know if I'm missing some because I just haven't gotten around to Hexarizing them. I've been slow on the homework. Bennett isn't a Hexarai character and Kazuha isn't. Everybody else here is the Hexarai character. I personally run him with Durin to get both of their Hexarai effects. You can run him with Venti if you don't have Durin. If you don't have Venti, you could feasibly run... I don't think there's any 4-star. I don't know how to activate the witches. I don't think there's a 4-star. I'm gonna actually enter in here. I don't think there's a 4-star Pyro Hexarai unit. But you do have a 4-star Animo one, so if you don't have Durin or Venti, I'm trying to think, please another Hexarai unit. You know what, I'm just gonna go over who I have and who I've Hexarized. It'll keep it simple for me. But, like, you know, if you don't have additional units like Venti or Durin, because a lot of there's a handful of 4-stars, there's a handful of 5-star Hexarai units. Varka wants to be run with another Hexarai unit, throw whichever one you have in it. Then if you choose for official for your Hexarai unit, you want another Electro character. The sum of the team building is you want 2 Animos, so you want him an additional Animo, and then you want 2 of another element. I run him with Pyro, you can run him Cryo, Electro. What's the last one? There's one more swirlable element. Cryo, Electro, Pyro, or Hydro. You can run him any of those. You can do any team comp you want. I think I like this one, and I think Pyro gives him the best stuff. 1, because you can put Bennett on his team, and Bennett is just that good. And 2, because you can technically, it's fun to have him a full Monset team like that. I just like running with Kazuha. I don't know if Venti is or is not better, but I don't really care. In summary, for Varka's team building, you want him, an additional Animo unit, preferably one that does a lot of swirling, and 2 of an additional element. I go with Pyro. You can do any element you want, really. And then another Hexarized unit. If you have Venti, you can easily just slot him in as your second Animo unit, and then boom, you have 2 Hexarai characters. If you don't have Venti, you could use Sucrose as your second Animo unit, and then boom, you don't have to worry about having a second one in the other elements. Oh, Mona, she's another Hexarai unit that I just haven't done her homework for. But, like, if you have Mona, you could put her in, and then you could, throw Kazuha in another Hydra unit, maybe for, like, Farina for an additional damage. Or you could do like, what? You could have Fischl as your Hexar unit, whoever as your Animo unit, and then another Electro unit. I don't know, like the Shogun or something. I don't have the Shogun personally. I really want her. Who are Electro people? It would be fun to run with you. You could throw in Kuki as a sustainer. That's a pretty easy one there. Lisa is a simple character. Everybody has her, and she does a pretty good AoE of Electro, which is nice. Sarah buffs attack. I don't remember what Dori does. Which is not going to be that useful because they don't have field DPS. Yeon-san could do some more buffing. That's great. Now, for his Optimum team, that is pricey. But you don't have to burn people Optimum. You can just run them for fun. I know my sister has her Varka in... I don't know if she actively runs him in that a lot, but I know she has a team where it's like him... Oh, who else was there? Oh, and I've gone back to fighting Child because I feel like it's funner for the showcase instead of having to fight the mannequin. Instead of watching me fight the mannequin things, you actually see Child and his HP bar just get destroyed. In teams where my DPS is really, really strong, as you can see with Varka. And then that's his special skill, and then actually when I get to his, which I clearly trigger too far away, when I get to, I'll show you his special charge, and just, I'm gonna just kind of ignore optimization, so, oh shoot. And that's his special charge attack there. As you can see, I wasn't all that worried about them losing. They're really, really strong. That showcase was extremely short because of it. Oh shoot, I don't need any more Child stuff. I shouldn't have done that. Anyway, I feel like I was saying something before this, but I've now forgotten. Hopefully I didn't need to finish that sentence. But yeah, no, that's how I built my Varka. Thank you so much for watching, and may you have a blessed rest of your day.